Tuesday, June 5th, 9 a.m. Mountain Time, 2018. Guys, in this video, we're going to take a look at a couple of things. The heat wave down in Mexico, and the latest video that we uploaded, the June 4th UV video that we do on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday now. Instead of doing a video report 7 days a week, I've got it now to just Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. We still do UV readings on a daily basis. And if there's something that shows up that requires a video, then I will do a video on an off day. But now just look for the UV videos on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And this one, I held off on uploading it until today because it's got some incredible numbers in it that I want to elaborate on. And that's why I've got the thumbnail titled Special Report, because in this video, you're going to see some quite incredible numbers, and I want to revisit that video right here. This is the video that I uploaded just a little over an hour ago, and the readings in this video came from Amsterdam, Oregon, British Columbia, California, Montana, Missouri, South Carolina, and then Arizona. I always start off with my reading out here in Arizona, where yesterday was, pretty standard for out here, 11, 10-ish, 12-ish. That's not uncommon at all. Temperature was 103, and again, that's not uncommon. The UV actually matched yesterday with the app, pretty close. Skies were all clear, and then I got to looking at the reports coming in from different locations, not only in America but around the world, and this is one of them from Amsterdam. Amsterdam, as we've talked before about how the higher up you go with regard to the latitudes of Earth, and equally the same if you go lower down the latitudes in the southern hemisphere, the lower the UV typically. In this case with Amsterdam, it's way up here in northern Europe. This is a UV graph, a global graph of just average UV numbers across the globe. You can see they're higher at the equator in the tropics. So those are pinks and whites being the highest. And then when you go up towards the North Pole and down towards the South Pole, blues are the lower UVs. So with regard to Amsterdam, it's right up here on the edge of blue. Last year, the numbers from, this is our second year by the way, getting reports and readings from Amsterdam, they were always in the 2 and 3 range, which was telling us that the ozone layer was quite effective up there. This is the reading from yesterday. See that 10? I couldn't believe that. I've never seen a reading up there much over 3, maybe a high 3 during the summer months last year. So based off of last year's readings with this same exact instrument, that is exceptionally high for that part of the world, which is way up here. 52 degree latitude almost. 52 degrees. And again, remember, the higher UVs are at the equator. So that's 52 degrees north latitude. 51.8, okay? But 10.31, that's unprecedented for that area. Then continuing on, and that's why I highlighted that to just, let you know that that number is exceptionally high for Amsterdam. This is also an exceptional number. It's 55, but that's UVC. And that number, at least the UVC measurements, have been confirmed by other scientists last year. And that was submitted, or their experiment, guys from Harvard actually did it, sent in a peer-reviewed, or got the paper peer-reviewed, at least their findings. And they did in fact find UVC at ground level, which that in itself is unprecedented. Now we're going to go to Beaverton, Oregon. Beaverton, Oregon is right in this area here. So that would be in the teal and the greens. So 4, 5, and 6, maybe a 7 on a good day is pretty typical for the Beaverton, Oregon area. And that's around the 41, I think, 42 degree latitude. And here's the number from yesterday. This was a reading that he took at I want to say around noon. But what this man does, his name's Luis, he'll leave his instrument outside with the sensor up on a ledge facing the sky. Well, he came out and took a picture of it at solar noon. That's what we try to do. But he left his instrument outside. This is what it showed later on, about an hour later, right before it started raining, and he went outside and got his instrument. At some point between the time he took that picture and went back out to get his instrument as it started raining, it had detected a 15.15 UV reading, which for that area, like Amsterdam, that's unprecedented. Shouldn't be over a 7 or an 8 on an exceptional day. So that reading was quite unusual. And that's what I said up here. That's very unusual. That's what I put in the video. But I wanted to offer some clarity as to why it's unusual. It's based off of its geographical location with respect to the planet and how the planet has always managed UV. The bulk of the higher UV numbers are at the equator. They shouldn't be that high up here. That's all. So we're moving on. We'll go to Abbotsford, British Columbia, which sets up a little higher than Beaverton. Beaverton's in here. Abbotsford's up here in the pretty much all blue. The teal and the blue area sits around the 49-degree latitude, north latitude. And we look at Abbotsford and his reading too, like Luis in Beaverton, 15.06. That was his reading from yesterday, June 4th, and I think that's one of the highest, if not the highest, he sent in from Abbotsford. So again, very unusual reading. So that's why I titled the video like I did, because I've got 3 areas with 3 different instruments, 3 different locations around the world, and they're all showing what I would consider anomalous readings. This reading here is from California. This will be Northern California, area called Redding, California. 11.01. I wouldn't say that that's too far out of range. You know, I mean, at least compared to a 15, it's not too terribly bad. 10.7 here you see in Somerton, South Carolina. You know, that's not too far out of bounds like the other ones. Three Forks, Montana. He's been getting high readings, much like Beaverton and British Columbia up in Abbotsford. Yesterday his was a 12.34, which is considerably high, but he's been getting high numbers all spring. We're not even into summer yet. I think he had a 14 at one point this year. So 12.3 for this year is pretty standard. Actually, he showed an 11.3, but the high reading he got yesterday was 12.34. But based off of last year's numbers, he very rarely had any numbers that were over 10. So they're running much higher than they did last year with regard to total UVAB. And what I do is I always put at the end of the video a sunscreen that I recommend, and this is just something that I use personally with my family. I have nothing to do with this company that makes this. I don't even know who makes it. All I know, it's a good product, and it's something that's safe to use, and it does a good job. But here's a general rule of thumb that you can go by. Outside, solar noon is typically noon in your location. If you can't see your shadow on the ground, then it's a good idea, especially now during the spring and summer months when the UV is typically higher, carry an umbrella. That's why they were invented. Umbrellas weren't invented for rain. They were invented for shade. So create your own shade. Carry an umbrella. Make a shadow on the ground. When you can't see a shadow, your shadow on the ground, that means the sun is directly above your head. When you can see your shadow on the ground, either to the right or to the left, that means the sun is lower on the horizon, and more than likely the UV is also lower. So that's just something to keep in mind, especially now that we've got these very high UV readings showing up at different places, and it's not every day. Like the reading from Amsterdam right here, that's the first time I've ever seen, and I know him as well. anything double digits from that area. Here lately he's been getting some readings in the 6 or 7 range, which for that area is pretty high, considering last year he never had anything over a 3 or a 4. I don't think he even reached a 4 last year. So 10 is quite exceptional. But you can protect yourself, but carrying portable shade, I think, is a must in today's world. So definitely carry portable shade and protect yourself. But UV, that's why I got special report. I wanted to clarify why. Those numbers are numbers that, we've just simply not seen before as with regard to our numbers. We established a set of numbers last year from these same locations with the same instruments, and this year the numbers are much, much higher. What you're looking at is the sky yesterday from Abbotsford, British Columbia. This is what the sky looked like. And one thing that we've noticed a trend with higher UV numbers is on partly cloudy days. Not all blue skies, and you would think it would be just the opposite. But what we've found is on partly cloudy days, these higher UV numbers occur. And this is the Abbotsford number right there from yesterday. There's the surprising reading from Beaverton, Oregon. And then there's the number again from Amsterdam. But what I want to show you next is not necessarily directly related to UV light, but it could be. We're seeing some things come out of Mexico with regard to this heat wave that they've had. Sweltering heat. This article's dated Saturday, June 2nd. And the heat wave continues through today, with temperatures reaching in some places 48, 49 degrees Celsius. That's nearly 120 degrees. I had someone send me in pictures of stop signs or stop lights in certain areas. I'm not exactly sure where they're from. All I know is they're from Mexico in the middle of this heat wave. So it could be a combination of the heat and the intense light, because we have noticed over the last few months signs that for some reason that face south and the direct sunlight for a long period of time, some signs are losing their color. Like this one here. It's bleached completely white. And this was sent in a few days ago from Missouri by Dennis. Bleached completely white. Now this sign here that's facing not directly south, I think he said this is facing south. But signs that are generally in the shade facing north or to the northeast that aren't in the sunlight very much, they seem to do fine. It's the ones that are in the sun all day long. But check these out. These signs from Mexico. Absolutely unbelievable. Look at that. Completely melted. I've never seen anything quite that intense. And you can see the sunlight right on that stoplight right there. So it could be a combination of the intense sunlight. I don't know what the UV is down there, but I'm sure it's extremely high with these types of events occurring. Doesn't necessarily mean, though, it's high UV. I mean, we've had days here, like for instance, yesterday here it was 103, but our UV was, pretty much at a normal range. So it doesn't necessarily mean just because it's 120 degrees that the UV is going to be extremely high. That's not how it works, or at least not what we've observed. Here's a sign here that's warped from the extreme heat. Here's another example of a melted stop sign. It could be the same one that we just saw, just maybe a different angle. But a lot going on down in Mexico with regard to a very intense heat wave, so hot that it's melting street signs. Alright guys, that's all I got for this video. We're going to talk about volcanoes later on today. I know we've had a significant eruption in Guatemala, and we're going to take a closer look at that and see if maybe somehow it could be related or tied into the eruption that's ongoing in Hawaii. That just saw a 5.5 earthquake as a result of a volcanic eruption. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Have a super day and be safe out there.